Chapter 16 talks about evaluations in detail. It includes different types of inspections, analytics, and predictive models. The objectives of this chapter includes the key concepts that are used in different types of inspection methods. There are two types of inspection methods that are discussed in depth in this chapter that includes heuristics and walkthroughs. We will discuss about both of them in detail in the upcoming slides. This chapter also discuss the role of analytics in evaluation. We are also going to understand how to use A/B testing, which is nothing but version A and version B testing of a same product, and evaluating both of them and using the best evaluated method. We will also see how to use Fitts law as a predictive model. Now, the interesting thing of the heuristics and the walkthroughs is that they are not going to involve real user. It means that we don't have a direct users involved in evaluating a digital product using heuristics or by using a walkthrough. Okay, so these methods are rather based on the understanding of how the user will behave, okay, and some expert users who know the technology evaluates pretending to act like a user. There are three methods that are discussed in detail. The first one is knowledge codified in heuristics. The second one is that the data is collected remotely. Third one is models that predict how the people will perform. Inspections. Now let us see what are the two types of inspections that are commonly used in evaluating a digital product without involving the direct users. The inspections include the first one is heuristic and the second one is walkthrough. There are several kinds of inspections, out of which we are going to talk about heuristics and walkthrough. Okay, now experts or researchers use their knowledge of people and technology to review the software usability. The data or the feedback is taken from these researchers and experts can be informal or it can be formal feedback also. Heuristics evaluation is nothing but a review of guided set of heuristics. Walkthroughs involve stepping through a pre-planned scenario while taking note of potential problems that can come through a walkthrough. For example, if we want to introduce you to use a newly developed mobile app that will help you to study and complete your assignments of the university. Since this app is new, your teacher will walk you through the app to understand or to make you understand how the app works. She might think about a pre planned scenario, okay, for example, like solving the assignment, submitting the assignment, and checking the status of the assignment if it is corrected or graded or not. So, this is a pre planned scenario, what she thinks of, and then she makes you go through that. She makes you attempt that assignment creation in the app. And while you're doing this, she will make the note of problems. It can be good or bad about the scenario or the app, how it is addressing. So, this is an example of a walkthrough. Okay. We will keep on discussing about them in details when we talk about each one of it in a specific way. Now, let us see what is heuristic evaluation. Heuristics is nothing but a set of guidelines for what makes a digital product user friendly. For example, using an heuristic guideline, you will identify or you will evaluate how good the app navigations are working, how best the website respond to the user clicks, Is it easy for you to move through the different pages? Are you able to find out the information needed in fewer number of clicks or not? It can be as simple as what the color of a button can be to make it consistent and to make the button stand out. Heuristics make sure that the overall design of app, website, or any digital product is senseful to the user and it is easy for them to use because it is often possible or it often happens that since the digital product, let it be website or an app, eh, because it is not user friendly to use, people do not want to use it. That kind of evaluation or that kind of problem is actually addressed by evaluating this digital product by comparing it against set of heuristics. Basically, this set of heuristics is made on design principles of human computer interaction. It was developed by Jacob Nelson in 1990s. He made these heuristics on empirical analysis of 249 usability problems. These heuristics have been revised for current technology by Nelson and others to make sure for the following digital apps like a mobile device, wearable devices, virtual world like AR and augmented reality and virtual reality, social media, and other types of systems. Design guidelines are the ones that makes the basis for developing heuristics. Now, if you remember the design guidelines that we have been discussing in the earlier chapters, like chapter 1 and chapter 2, these design guidelines are very simple, like how usable the system is, how accessible the system is. How simple is it for the user to use a system? The visual design of the system is appealing or not? Navigation from one page to another page is easy or not? Design interactions, adaptability, and how the system is responding to the user clicks. They all makes the design guidelines. And on these guidelines, the heuristic evaluation criteria are built for mobile devices, wearable devices, virtual world, social media, and other types of systems. Here is the example of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guidelines. Okay, so these are the revised version in the year 2014, okay, by Nelson. Revised version of Nelson's heuristic for okay, that includes the first one as visibility of system status. Okay, match between the system and the real world, user control and freedom, consistency and standards, error prevention, cognition rather than recall, flexibility and efficiency, aesthetics and minimalistic design, support error recovery, provide help and documentation. So these are the 10 guidelines using which a heuristic evaluation is carried out for any digital product. For example, visibility of system status. Like, for example, if you have been working on a very important online application, okay, then if you see that when you give your details and click on the next button, if the details of yours are correct and it is like how the system is expecting, he will let you go to another page. And then on the progress bar, you see that the first dot is, completed. And then it takes you to the second dot. For example, it's like, for example, you have, let me take a pen. Okay, so it's like, yeah, progress bar. So now if you have a next button, so you give your details and click on the next button. After you complete the first page, this is filled, and then you see that you have been moved to the next dot, and then you give the details in the next page and click on the next button. If this is correct, then you are moved to the second one. So it is like telling you the system status. It can be as, and then finally you see that you have reached to the destination, and then when you click on submit, the application is submitted. Okay, Now, if you have any problems in, the second stage of application filling, then you are stop or stuck at this page saying that you are, like you have completed only, you are at the completion of 25% of your application. It is actually telling you the progress of you with the system. Okay. It can be as simple as, for example, you are waiting for an elevator, and elevator has, a button, up button, up arrow, and a down arrow, up arrow and a down arrow. Okay. And then, for example, if you are staying at the ground floor and you want to go to the fifth floor, and you try to bring the elevator down. Okay. So when you click the down elevator button, the elevator, starts coming to the ground floor. Then now it tells you that the elevator is on the fourth floor, then third floor, then second floor, and the first floor, and finally here. So it is actually telling you the status of the system. Okay. So that's about the visibility of the system. The system should tell what it is doing, okay, so that the user is knowing about, what the system is doing, and the user doesn't feel lost, and he trusts the system because it is actually giving up the updates to the user. Match between the system and the real world. It's like, for example, if you have an app, okay, or a website to work in Japan, okay, so the system should have Japanese language also to match with the real world. If you have, a very important website in KSA, then it should have Arabic text or Arabic font or Arabic translation also possible for that particular device, so that it matches with the language of people where the app is being launched. So this makes the match between the system and the real world. Okay. The third one, user control and freedom. For example, if the user, if the user have the option of clicking on the button, and then he want to, for example, okay, let's take an example of profile creation. Okay, the user makes, if you have an app wherein you want to create your profile, and at the middle of the profile, you feel you don't need it and you don't want to complete this process. So the user should have the control and the freedom to cancel out any action or move forward. This makes the user believe or trust that the system is in control and the user have control of complete freedom. It's like sometimes you feel like, buying something from your online favorite online shopping website. You start to put some information, but in the middle, you feel that you don't want to buy it or you want to stop. So at that point of time, the system should not force you to complete the work. Rather, you should have the flexibility and the freedom and the control to stop the process and discard it. This is the third heuristic. The fourth one, so we have talked about visibility, we have talked about match between the system and the real world, and the third one as user control and freedom. Now there is something called as consistency. There are two types of consistency: internal and external. Okay, for example, external consistency is like where all the apps are using same, or all the website uses the same kind of symbol. Okay, for example, we have, login always in the right side of the web page, or shopping cart on the right upper corner of the shopping website. Okay, and always we have the side menu for the creation of editing the profile, or logging out of the system. So this is called as external consistency, wherein all the digital products, for a specific reason, they are using the same way to do the same task. For example, all the shopping websites, as I told you, have the shopping cart symbol on the right upper corner of the website. Okay, this is an example of external consistency. Internal consistency is like, for example, when you click on a button, okay, the button looks like it is clicked, okay, or there is a specific sound or the color of the button, it is giving you the sense of button click. And you're following the same for all the buttons of your website. It's something like, all the headings of your website is having a specific font with a specific size. All the subheadings are following the same rule. So this is like the internal consistency and the standards. Error prevention. For example, you try to put in some details, okay, and then by mistake you are clicking on the reset button. So before the reset button clears out all the data, it gives you a warning saying that the data will be lost. Okay, so this is called as error prevention. It's like allowing the user to know, or allowing the user to receive a warning that once you close this application the data will be lost. Are you sure you want to exit or not? When you would have seen, for example, your younger brother or your kid is playing games, okay, and then he clicks on the cross out button in the window, okay, cross out button in the window corner. Okay, then when you click on this, it tells you, gives you an alert saying that, do you want to exit? Yes or no. So this is called as error prevention. It is actually warning the user, it is actually warning the user about some error, okay, that might have happened or would happen by mistake if the user did not pay attention to it. And then after reading this warning, he may decide to do it or not, informing about the error by letting him know beforehand. So let me erase it. So we talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heuristics. Okay. Now, sixth one, recognition rather than recall. So we don't want the user to memorize the steps involved in carrying out some activity in your website. For example, if you have e-commerce website wherein you are selling some product, okay, then buying the product should be easy. There should be no need for the user to memorize what is the first step, what is the second step. It should be logical. For example, you select the product, click on the next button, it asks you how much is the quantity that you want to order, and then it takes your details, and then finally you are done with the process of ordering it. It should be very easy, it should be recognizable rather than memorizing it. Okay, so no need of recalling. We want them to recognize. Flexibility and efficiency. The website should be flexible and flexible enough to work on different modes. For example, you can have your app working on a variable device, or app working on a big screen, and still it is efficient to use. Aesthetics and minimalistic design. What does it mean? It means that we should not have so many designs in the website. Okay, we want to have limited number of designs, and each design actually is conveying some work progress. For example, when you click on a button, you might have some kind of feedback to the user saying that the button is clicked or system is in the progress. Okay, that's enough. We don't want to have so many designs here. We don't want to create too much of beautification, and we don't want to give the user huge information. We just give the user minimum set of information, wherein we keep the user not loaded with lot of information. Okay, support and error recovery. For example, if the user have created a profile and by accident or by some problem, he was stopped in the middle of it. So the data that he before stopping it should not be lost. You should be able, or app should be able to recover it and support the error which was actually made, the error that was actually made by the user by some mistake. Okay, so this is called as support error recovery. The last one is providing help and documentation for each and every activity in your digital product. Okay, so these are the 10 heuristics, okay, evaluations that we use to evaluate each digital product, okay, to make sure that the The digital product is visible and informing about the system status. It is matching between by the real world, the user has the control, the design and the actions are consistent, error is prevented, recognition is possible, it is flexible, minimal design, support recovery, and provide help and documentation about it. Now, let's see how many number of evaluators are needed when you are talking about the heuristics. Okay, how many number of evaluators are needed? Nelson suggests that on an average, 5 users can identify most of the usability problems. Now, if you see here the graph, let us understand the graph. These are the number of evaluators. These are the number of evaluators. Okay. These are the number of evaluators. When we have one evaluator, he was able to identify 25% of the usability problems. What are the usability problems? These are the usability problems. For example, if the system, is giving you the status updates or not, or is it matching with the real world or not, or the user is having the control and freedom or not. So he was able the one user was able okay one user was able to identify 20, maybe 30% of usability problems. 5 users, when you add more users, you see they are able to identify more usability problems. If you have, for example, 10 users or 15 users, they can identify all the problems. Okay, because more people, more eyes, and more interaction with the system, and much possibility of catching the usability issues inside the digital product, as simple as that. So curve showing the proportion of usability problems in an interface found by heuristic evaluations depending on different numbers of evaluators. Okay, so more number of users, more number of usability problems are identified. Less number of users or evaluators, less number of usability problems are identified. So, as said, or as we notice, okay, average of 5 user can identify up to 80% of usability problems. This also depends on the context and the type of application being evaluated. It also depends on the skills and the experience of evaluators. If you have experience or skillful evaluators, then you can identify 80% of usability problems with an average of 5 users. Okay, so that's about the evaluators. Now, let us understand how the website heuristics work. So, what are the key criteria in evaluating websites? Ensure that website is designed for people who will use it. For example, if I am designing a website for kids, then I have to make my website appealing to the kids. Maybe I will have more colors. Or if I am developing or designing a website application for hospitals, then the color scheme, okay, and the information inside it, the way how the information has to be layout will be, according to the people who will use it. Clarity. The words that we use inside the website should be clear. We should avoid using jargon. Jargon is like a business terms that we use, with special meanings in the business. So we have to avoid jargons. The information should be clear and it should be short. We have to minimize unnecessary complexity and reduce the cognitive load. We cannot put, some complex criterias or actions in order to register, a patient or register a doctor. For example, the polyclinic app, again, a very difficult app for picking up the clinic, picking up the doctor, fixing an appointment with him, because it is not possible for you to fix an appointment for a consultant other than the same day, which is, not practical. You might want, according to your availability and your need, you want to have an appointment with a medical doctor on a specific day, of his visit, maybe not the visit in this week, maybe the next week, but this kind of appointment fixing is not available in the polyclinic app. So you know uh, the user have to remember many things and then do. So we don't want the user to bother his memory. Rather, minimize the complexities. Provide user with context and clear names and statement of what you're doing. Promote the positive and pleasurable experience. Okay. During doing the heuristics evaluation. Now let us see how much time is needed and how many evaluators. We already saw how many evaluators can be there. Average of five evaluators can do our work because they will be able to identify if they are good with the technology, and if they know the context and the type of app, then five evaluators are sufficient to identify 80% of usability problems. Now, we want to see how the evaluation session should go on. We should explain what is needed out of each evaluator. Okay. So we need to brief the session to tell evaluators what to do. Evaluation period can last from 1 to 2 hours, in which each evaluator will work separately. Okay. And then you will take one pass to get a feel of the product and take a second pass to focus on specific feature. Okay, after they finish, you will have a probing session in which each evaluator will work together with all the other evaluators to prioritize the usability issues they have identified. So it's like, for example, you are trying to evaluate the banner system, okay, and you are involving, for example, 10 participants inside it. So the session can last for an hour or 2 hours. Okay. Each evaluator will check on all these things. Is the banner KFU banner designed for the people who want to use it? Is it clear? Do they have to, work with the memory in order to carry out some action? Is the information clear or not? Positive, is it giving you a positive and a pleasurable experience, which is not, by the way, for banner? And you might check these things. The system status is clear, matching the system and the real world. You will check the banner for all these things. Okay. And then the evaluator will check all those things separately. Okay. Then you will see how the product is working. Okay. And then how the overall product is working. And then, for example, only marking attendance, a specific feature. Then the second parts, you focus on a specific feature like marking attendance or uploading the grades. Are there any problems, usability problems in uploading the grades or not? Are there any problems in, registering a course or, dropping a course or not? Okay. So these things are taken care in the second pass. Then finally, there is a big discussion about all the between of all the evaluators, and they work together to prioritize what problems they have identified. Okay, so like it's like in the first 1 hour, the evaluators work separately. In the second hour, they work together and prioritize the identified problems. Now, let us understand what are the advantages and disadvantages of the heuristics. The advantage is few participants are enough. Few ethical and practical issues to consider because users are not involved. Because we are not involving users, okay, we can have few experts to do the evaluation, heuristic evaluation. Hence, we don't have to, bother for many people. We can have few experts to do this work. And also, here you have to take care about, practical issues. Take important things and evaluate it. It can be difficult and expensive to find, but however, can be difficult to find expert evaluator. and the knowledge of application domain and the people using it. So this can be a bit difficult. The biggest problem is that the important problems may get missed because we are talking about considering only the practical issues. Many small problems are often identified, such as false alarms, many trivial problems. Big problems are also identified. Evaluators might have biases, means their own favorite things, by which they can overlook, or they can uh, under or overrate a particular feature of the app. Now let us see how to turn the design guidelines into the heuristics. You can ask simple questions. For example, you are making a heuristic, okay, and you can frame some questions which will help the evaluator to evaluate the app by having some simple questions like this. Does the application include a visible title page or not? For each page or each section or each site. Does the user always know where they are in the application? Okay. Does the user always know what the system or application is doing? Are the links clearly identified? Can all the actions be visualized or not? Okay. So you can just think about simple questions and map them with the heuristic. Now, talking about evaluating accessibility using web content accessibility guideline, which was given in 2015. Guidelines can be used as heuristics for evaluating websites for governments and large corporations to make their websites accessible by law. Four important concepts they have to consider. What are they? It should be, the website should be perceivable. For example, provide text alternatives for non-text content. Operable, example, making functions available through a keyboard also and through a touch screen also. So at the time of touchscreen not behaving properly, the keyboard commands can be taken. Understandable means make the content appear and be readable in predictable ways. The content should be predictable and readable. You must know what, for example, when you click on the next button, you must understand, you must know what should happen. Okay, for example, you're clicking on, submit button for an application, then it should give you application submitted or some problem with a specific field inside the application so that you can go to that particular place and rectify that problem. So the system should be understandable to the user. The user will be, or the user should be able to identify what is going to happen next when he clicks on a next button. It should be robust, meaning that ensuring the compatibility with other tools also. It's like, for example, you design an app, the app works good with desktop, and it has some problems with the mobile app. It should not happen like this. Okay, it should be robust, difficult to break. Okay, there should be no security leakages. There should be no, it should be difficult to break the system. Okay, so this makes the first part of the chapter 16. So we'll stop here and discuss the remaining chapter in second part.